Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to start a fire in a fire pit, and in particular I'm going to show you how to do it using the log cabin method, which is best for if you're trying to cook something. I'm going to walk you through all of the different types of wood we have and exactly how we're going to assemble it to start the best type of fire for a fire pit. Let's get started. I'm going to show you what wood I have gathered here. I have 3 different types of wood, and it's my Tinder, which is the smallest form that's good to catch the fire initially, the Kindling, which is your next step up, and then you've got your fuel wood. You can use basically any type of regular split wood, or if you get a really good start, you can even do unsplit wood if it's dry enough. But I have these little stick pieces here that are kind of small pieces of fuel wood and on the borderline of what you would even call fuel wood, to be honest. But this can work really well, so I'm gonna be using it today because that's what I have with me. And so also I have my fire starters, which I haven't shown you yet. I have some basic newspaper. You can use this. I have a DIY fire starter, and all this is sawdust and a piece of a cardboard egg carton, and then it's covered in wax. And this is an excellent DIY fire starter. And today I'm going to show you how to do it with newspaper, because I think that's probably the way that most people are comfortable with getting started, and most people will have some paper on hand that they can use. However, you can also use a DIY fire starter, and if you want to be particularly ambitious, you can also get it started just by using the tinder. And you'll see here that I have some really nice tinder that's these little long pieces of shavings that have some fuzz coming off of them. You can actually get it started with just this as your tinder level or your fire starter. And at the end of the video, stick around because I'll show you how I made this using my pocket knife and these. For now, I'm gonna take some of this out and I'm gonna show you how to put together this log cabin fire. So to start with a log cabin fire, you just have your 2 base sticks. And then inside of that, I mentioned I'm gonna use my newspaper. I'm gonna take small balls of newspaper and I'm gonna put those in on the inside like so, all right? And then I'm going to take my tinder and I'm going to drape it over the firewood. That's to get some wood started going after I've lit my firewood to begin with. I'm gonna try to get a good layer of coverage here and kind of sprinkle this stuff on top. And then in addition to my little shavings, I've gathered some little sticks here that are just off of the forest ground in the woods close to here. So I'm gonna put that all up on top of here, get it layered. I don't wanna smother it. I want there to be still gaps for the oxygen to come up when I light it. But I do want good coverage because that's gonna help the fire get going. All right, so I'm satisfied with that. Once I have that set up, I need to put my first crossbar layer for my log cabin, like so. All right, and now at this stage, I'm going to go ahead, and there are a few different ways to do this. There's variations for the log cabin fire, but with the way I have this constructed, I'm just going to take my kindling pieces and I'm gonna just kind of put them draped over the center like so. And so while I'm doing this, just to mention that the reason that you have your different levels of wood, being the tinder, the kindling, and the fuel wood, is that as the fire gets going, it gets stronger essentially, and it's able to light and burn progressively larger pieces of wood. And so you're basically giving it a step-by-step progression from the bottom to the top so that it can start a great fire for you to cook over. So once I have some kindling laid down, then I'm going to do another layer of crossbars for my log cabin, like so. And I like to actually move these in a little bit. So this is maybe some people who are log cabin purists might question why I'm doing this. But the reason I like to do that a little bit is because it puts the wood directly over where the fire is gonna be coming. And so this top layer will likely get started, catch on fire a bit quicker. All right, so next thing, I'm going to be starting this with a match. You could also do this with a lighter, or if you were feeling ambitious or wanted to give your shot at some survival skills, you could do this with flint and steel, magnesium. You could try it with a piece of paper you caught on fire with a magnifying glass, but we're gonna be doing a match. And there is a bit of a technique to this. and I'm gonna be only using one match. You should only need one, and if you are able to do this with one match, I applaud you. And there is a technique to this. So I do have some wind around my fire pit. It's a pretty windy area. And so one key piece that you're gonna need to remember to do is when you light the match, go down really far into the bottom of the fire pit, because that will protect your flame from getting put out by the wind. And then the second thing is you want to try to light in multiple places from the bottom of the fire structure. So fire always burns up, and so if you can light it from multiple places from the bottom, you're going to optimize your chances of getting the fire going from the bottom up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to try to light it here and here, and then if I have some flame left, I'm going to see if I can sneak it in over here as well. We'll see if I get that far. All right, that's one light. That's two light. Not gonna make it over the side, but we've got some good flames going. And if you've done a good job on your fire build, you shouldn't have to do too much. If it looks a bit weak, you can blow on it a bit. I've got a pretty nice breeze here, as I mentioned, and so it doesn't look like I'm gonna have to do that. And as it grows, you can take some of your other kindling, and if you have tinder left over, and you can start strategically putting that over the top, like I'm doing here. And I have some more of this fuel wood on the side too. I'm gonna set this in here on the sides, and pretty soon we're gonna have a really nice fire going. And so how big you build this up will depend on a couple of things. It's gonna depend on how big a fire you want. If you wanna warm up, it pays to have a bigger fire. But if you're planning to cook over it, you don't wanna build it up too high, because the best way to cook in a fire pit is to actually let it burn down until it's the coals, okay? And so we're planning to cook on this, and so I might put like maybe one or two more pieces on here, but then I'm gonna let it burn down so that we can use the coals to cook over. So I've got one of these pieces of wood that I was showing you earlier, and I have my pocket knife, I have a basic Swiss Army knife, and I'm going to plant the end of the piece of wood into the ground, and I'm gonna hold the other piece with my hand, my left hand, and then with my strong hand, which is my right hand, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna hold it perpendicular to my piece of wood, and then on the edge, so the corner here, I'm going to scrape and just take little pieces off like that. See how that comes off real easy? And you just basically do that a bunch of times, and it makes really, really good tinder, which can help you a lot for starting a fire, especially if you don't have newspaper or something else to help you get it started. This is a great way to go. Thanks guys for joining us for this video on how to start a fire in a fire pit. We have new videos on outdoor skills posted here every week, so please subscribe. Join us for the next one. Cheers.